Hey. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, first off, I'm going to be doing a ClairTarot reading for the collective whole. This is going to be an energy update to kind of give us an idea of where that pendulum is swinging towards at this point. A lot of shifting within each of us, a lot of shifting outside of each of us, and things can get very confusing. A lot of information comes out about all sorts of different topics, all sorts of different concerns, and we're all kind of at a point where we really don't know what to believe. We don't know who to believe, what to believe, how to feel, how to process, and how to move forward. I think all of us are really just overloaded, like ridiculously overloaded. Okay, so I'm going to just pull some cards. Maybe that will help us to kind of get a better idea of what exactly it is we are struggling through internally. Let me just grab from the decks that I want. How are you guys doing today? All right, let me just shuffle one more time. All right. That's interesting. There is an opportunity, the adventure. Hold on, guys. Okay. All right. So again, a lot of things going on within ourselves, in the world, and we're needing to really take a step back, allowing ourselves to have a moment to analyze where our perception is coming from. What we don't often recognize is our perception uses different type of filters. Depending on what filter is used, that's going to greatly affect how you see everything. Okay, something that's neutral can be seen as or perceived as negative when you're using negative filters. And it can be perceived as a positive if you're using positive filters. Whether it's negative or positive, it doesn't matter, because whatever filter you use, that's what you're going to perceive it to be. So let's see. All right. We have card number 38, abundance and release. Okay. It sounds a little bit like an oxymoron to be abundant in releasing. But what ends up happening is we accumulate so much toxicity within us. So much toxicity. Mental toxicity, emotional toxicity, societal toxicity, and it just builds up in you. It just builds up in you. There's a lot of really interesting information going around right now regarding viruses, regarding what they actually are, what a virus actually is. Y'all can look that up on your own. I'm not going to go over that information, but there's an abundance in the need to release. A lot of things are being let go of within us, around us, and outside of us. So we have the Voyage card in reverse. What this tells me is we, at one point, we had swung into an area of our consciousness where we were rising up, and those who are rising up in their understanding were being encouraged to help lift those who were struggling. And with it in reverse, this tells me those who serve as like a support system for others are so inundated at this point. So inundated with so much stress, so much fear, just a lot. I think everyone is. Everyone is just overloaded. Okay. And it's an even bigger struggle for those of us who are trying to care for others. So we kind of have to recognize that. Um, there are those in our lives who are at a breaking point. It might be you, it might be someone else, but there's an important need to recognize when someone is reaching their breaking point. We all have varying degrees, levels of tolerance. And for some of us, we're getting to that point where it's too hard to tolerate all of this, to process, to cope, all of that. So please try your best to be as patient as possible with other people, with yourself. And being patient doesn't mean allowing yourself to be a doormat. It means recognizing there's no need to take other people's lashing out, other people's inconsiderate behaviors, whatever it is. Don't take it personally. Don't allow yourself to go to that place where it's a personal attack. Even if it looks and feels like it, sometimes you have to just back up and be like, okay, you know what? This is not even about me. I don't even think this is about me. This person's just going through something. I'm just going to remove myself from this circumstance because I don't need none of this. I don't. And that's definitely something you have to keep in the back of your mind at all times in this type of environment that we're in right now. So, card number 2, transform the way you see. It's time to take the blinders off. It's definitely time to take the blinders off. We went and swung from this place of, oh, my country's not like that. It's those savages in that other country. They're the ones who do that kind of stuff. We don't do that here. We're civilized here. And now that we're experiencing worldwide the same thing, I'm seeing it's becoming a step down in what we were doing before. Instead of saying, oh, it's that country. Oh, it's those people. It's the neighbors. It's the people in my neighborhood. They're the reason why things are being decided for everyone the way it is. I want to say that things are happening for all of us because all of us have to recognize the need for reunification, where we're all looking out for each other, not just looking out for myself. Not, you know what I mean? It's time for us to begin celebrating each other. Celebrating our differences and recognizing that we all have to be different because each of us serves a different function. Every single one of us is important in some way, shape, or form. And whether you recognize this or not, you're important. That person that you think is just useless, they're important too. They're serving some sort of purpose. And just because you don't know what that purpose is, doesn't diminish the fact that you and whoever you're irritated with is serving a purpose. We're each gifting each other opportunities to ripen our inner under and overstanding of ourself and our soul. So with the way this world has gone, it's a patriarchal world. Okay. It's run by unbalanced masculine. Am I a feminist bashing on masculine? No, I'm not. Not at all. Not at all. But we do have to recognize it is a patriarchal type of symptom, for lack of a better word. It's a symptom where it's a competition instead of co-creation. And we have to swing back from that. We have to allow the feminine energy to rebalance, recenter the masculine. We have both masculine and feminine inside each of us. I actually relate to males much more than I do to females, and that's perfectly okay. That's perfectly okay. I recognize I'm a female with a masculine energy. I can balance them both. I can utilize them both to help move me forward in my journey. And this is what we have to recognize. There's no more need for finger pointing. What we need right now is to dive deep in ourselves and create a balance between the masculine and feminine energies that make us, so that we can get the masculine right side up again within ourselves and have that reflected outside of us. And if enough of us do this, the general masculine energy, the collective masculine energy, will become balanced as well. Okay, because laws of reciprocal reflection. So it's time for us to flow. Allow the energy to flow from your masculine to your feminine, from your feminine to your masculine. One is not better or worse than the other. One is not stronger or weaker than the other. Both serve their purpose. Both. You can't have one without the other. Masculine is positive, feminine is negative. Masculine is solar, feminine is lunar. Notice how you need one and the other to help give you the gravity of what each means. Each helps to define the other. Okay. So this is just a pause in our journey. Card number 7. This is just a pause. We're needing to release. Because remember, the first card, abundance in the release, right? The trees, when it's fall time, do they hold on to all their leaves and like, no, I don't want to let it go because what if I have no more leaves? Well, what if you just let it all go and go through your process and grow new leaves, fresh leaves? What if you allow yourself to let yourself grow? What if you allow yourself to pause? We live in a society where it's just go, 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 go all the time. Go, 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 go. And what are we running away from? I came across some really beautiful posts on social media about how you have to really become aware of the fact that when you're constantly busy, constantly preoccupied from one project to another, which I usually am, um, usually it's because you're avoiding processing internal things, which is true for me too. It's true. I recognize it. It's true. And, recognizing these things, these struggles is very powerful. That's the first step, though, in a multi step process. It's time for us to slow down and pause so we can recognize the work that's needing to be done. It's not all going to happen in one night. It's not going to all happen and be cleared in one breath. It's taking you your entire life to get to this point of recognition that something needs to be acknowledged. That's an entire lifetime of things needing to be purged, needing to be recalibrated, needing to be rebalanced, rejuvenated, all of these things. So be patient with yourself. Be patient. Allow yourself enough time and compassion to process an entire life that's really been a way to avoid the things that are needing to be addressed. Okay. So, with that, we get to card number 24, new chapter. We are rising. Okay. We are rising as individuals and as a collective whole. We are rising. Time for us to celebrate our rise. We have planted seeds of change, seeds of hope, seeds for the future. We have planted enough seeds within us and around us to cultivate an entire orchard, an orchard that can serve as a sanctuary for our tired hearts, our weary souls, and a place where we can find the sustenance that will carry us through the darkest times. But first, we have to water it. Okay? We have to water these seeds. You can't just plant a seed and not water it and expect it to grow. Not only do you need to water it, you need to actually also weed that garden before it becomes an orchard. You have to make sure the weeds don't choke out the seed. In addition to that, you have to also provide it light. This means you have to allow yourself to release the emotions that cause the flow of tears to water those seeds. And as you do that, you'll have just enough clarity to begin weeding through the garden and removing the growth that actually is impairing true growth. It's just cluttering up your garden. And as you do that, you've really set the stage for the light of your truth, paired with the release of your tears to grow that garden. This is work that's needing to be done within you right now. Okay. Oh, card number 5, growth. See what I'm saying? It's about growth. It's about growth. Allow yourself to finally begin growing. All right. We all have to begin somewhere. And if you think that the growth should go from a seed in a packet to a full on orchard overnight, you can keep thinking that if you want. 90% at 509, 90509, mirroring. You can keep thinking that if you want, but let me know how that works out. So 9 being the number of divinity, 0 being the point of origination, 5 being change, 0 being point of origination, 9 being divinity. This change is the anchoring factor that will spin us back into our point of origination for both our masculine and our feminine aspects, that will lead us to higher consciousness, that will lead us to our divine consciousness, our Christos. Okay, so this is like a big adventure. It's like a big adventure. We all have wings to fly. Every single last one of us. We can fly, and we can either use this adventure to deliver an opportunity to ourselves, one that is very heavily cloaked. That moon doesn't look very full, so we can assume that night is not very bright. It's actually very dark that night. Okay, so a lot of things might be occurring behind the scenes, things we don't know, things we don't see, but this is still very much doable. The key is within your grasp. Oh, ooh, the leaves falling. Ooh, she's crying. The vines are growing. That's beautiful. As we release the leaves, remember the abundance and release, as we let go of the leaves, the parts of us that no longer serve our growth, that no longer help to sustain us, we become aware of the need for us to also release our emotions. I never realized she was crying. And as all of this is occurring, even the dimness of the night, this opportunity is a very dimly lit opportunity. It's not one we're going to be fully aware. It's not going to be fully in your face, okay? But we become aware we've been caged. We've been institutionalized, unable to look out windows and see clarity of what's going on outside because those windows are frosted or whatever the hell that finish is. And so it obscures your actual vision. But guess what? We're breaking out of this mental institution. Wow. The institutions are shutting down. Let that sink in. Ooh. We have card number 16, hope. It came up upside down. It came out of the deck upside down. How does this make you feel? Hope in reverse. Let that sink in real quick. Hope in reverse. You're driving towards a destination called hope. Hope it's an unknown place. You don't know how far away it is. You don't know what's going to be there, but you just hope it's good. You hope. It's hope. But hope is now in reverse. We're traveling backwards. We're moving away from hope and entering the terrain of doable opportunity. The key's in your hand. You're the one driving. So, wow, this is real deep. As this earth plane rises in frequency along with Gaia, again, laws of reciprocal reflection, our consciousness expands right along with her, okay? And as our consciousness expands, what ends up happening is our hope ripens from a seed to a seedling to a full-on tree. That tree is a tree of knowing, gnosis, which is what we're trying to achieve right now. Gnosis. All of the phases of our moon, all of these parts of ourselves that we try to keep so hidden from everyone else because we're ashamed. We're taught to be ashamed of all of these things about us that really, to me, what I've recognized, all these things that people often tell me they really, really cherish about me are the very things that I, for most of my life, was the most embarrassed and ashamed of. Let that sink in. Yeah. For most of my life, people are like, I mean, you're so truthful, you're so raw, you're so real. In my entire life, up until very recent, just a few years ago. My entire life, I struggled to hide that, to cover it up, to quiet it down. Like, girl, you can't say that to people. Girl, you can't say it like that to people. You can't use those words. You can't express this. You can't express that. What will they think? How will they receive this? Until one day, a friend told me that's not how you love. You love by sharing of yourself and giving the person the freedom to pick and choose what of you they will accept, they will listen to, they will think over, and what they will do after that. You love them in a way that frees them to be who they are. It's not our place to dictate what people will take from us, how people will benefit from us. And just because someone benefits from you doesn't mean they're using you. It doesn't mean that, oh, you need to fight now. No, they took advantage of you and they're using you and this and that. You know, every situation is different. You have to use discernment. For some, yes, you need to correct that. For other situations, you need to see what's really going on behind what's so obvious. What's really going on behind that? Did they use you or did they not know? Did you initiate a circumstance or a connection? And now that you've established that type of connection, you're upset that they're connected to you in that way. If you're someone who's insecure in yourself, and there's nothing wrong with being insecure in yourself, okay? And this is part of your process of getting to know who you are. But if you're someone who's insecure in yourself and you overgive and overgive and overgive in hopes that someone will see you as a worthy friend and will invest time and energy in a friendship with you, then you're establishing overgiving. You can't later on be like, I always give to this person and now I don't understand why they're always using me. No, you initiated that. You initiated it, you encouraged it. And it's not that they're wrong and you're right, or you're wrong and they're right. It's that this is what was established. And so now it's time for you to reestablish a new, more balanced connection. And it might be a little bit hard for them to understand why you're being different. Well, that's something you're going to have to figure out how to explain. Okay? That's just kind of how it is. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Tons of cards flipped over. All right. At the very top, there's a lot of mother freaking cards. Let me just, I don't even know. Let's see. Excuse me. 5 of Cups in reverse, money losses. All is not lost. You look behind. You may have something to salvage. Ooh, this is telling us we need to move forward. Okay? We need to move forward as a collective whole. Whatever was going on in the past, that's done with. That's done with. Okay? We're not going to be able to resuscitate that. The world has changed. The world has changed. We're never going back to the kind of existence that we used to have. The world has changed. With everything we've experienced right now, the world will forever be different. It's forever changed. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. I don't know. It's just different. Okay. We're never going to go back to the same mundane existence. This change that's occurring right now, the one that just occurred, that's occurring right now, that's going to continue to occur over, I don't know, however long. Not only is it changing your day-to-day routine, it's also changing your mindset, your perception, the way you perceive the world around you, current events, global events, medical events, all of that. It's changing who you are. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, do you really want to go back to a life that were you fulfilled? Did you feel satisfied, fulfilled? Did you feel like you were fulfilling your life purpose, your soul calling? If not, well, think on that. Do you want to go back to that? Right now, we're entering brand new territory. We are being presented with an opportunity to create, to carve out a brand new type of existence for ourselves as individuals, as societies, as nations, as a global whole. Okay? So, the devil in reverse, jealousy or trouble, able to break the chains that are binding you or holding you back. And this is the thing, our fear with the devil card in reverse, our fear is keeping us from walking out of that cage, that mental institution that we're recognizing we have been um, existing within. That mental cage door is already open. It's been open. It's been open, but we're too afraid of what's waiting for us outside to step out of the cage. And that's something you have to become aware of. Okay. No one gets to shove you out of the cage, maybe your higher self, but think on that. Think on that. The chariot, movement of residence, journey, victory over a situation or problem, balancing the opposite polarity. This is what we're going through right now. We're moving from one place, one fixed location within our consciousness to another. We're moving to another place within our own consciousness. And this is being presented as a global change. Everyone's being kind of shook up, moved around, all of this. Okay. Connections that you've had with people, friendships, relationships, soul connections, all of that. Everything's kind of being shifted around. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, for some of us, it's a very positive thing. For others of us, it's more challenging, but still not necessarily a bad thing. A negative experience does not necessarily mean it's a bad experience. It's only a bad experience when you allow the negative experience to be seen as something so horrible that you don't grow from it and instead imprison yourself in it. That will be a bad experience. Absolutely. And 10 of Cups in reverse, happiness, good times, party, or celebration. Right now, it doesn't feel like a good time. Right now, it feels like all of our cups are being emptied. It feels like everything we've ever worked on, all the things we have really, really fought to establish for ourselves is being taken away, is being destroyed unfairly. Um, I can't say that I don't agree because it feels unfair. It feels unfair, but sometimes what we have to recognize is we get so committed to a specific outcome, a specific type of storyline that we've created for ourselves that we completely disregard where our soul was trying to guide us to in the first place. And when that happens, very unfair feeling type of circumstance and interactions occur because this is your soul letting you know, no, you're headed in the wrong direction. We need to bring you back to the main road. This dirt road's not for you. We need to bring you back. Okay. So we also have the 6 of Swords in reverse, boat over water, travel, turning boat out of troubled waters into calmer water. Yeah. It's, sometimes it is difficult to share what the message actually is because you have to be sensitive to how other people will receive it. But right now, it's not time for sensitivity. It's not time for being politically correct. We're not exiting and returning to calmer waters because there are those of us, which is more than half of us are opting for whitewater rafting. Okay. Many of us have a type of ego and characteristic that's very stubborn. I myself am very stubborn. Okay. I'm not saying this as someone who thinks I figured it out and I'm better than you. No, I'm right there. I'm a captain of the stubborn ship. I'm right there too. And the thing is, if you choose whitewater rafting, there's a high likelihood of getting drowned. With this type of white water, high likelihood of that. High likelihood. Okay. There will be very, very intense, viscerally experienced symptoms of choosing that. So, am I telling you this so that you can be afraid? No, I'm telling you this so you can choose to consciously be aware of how you are using your stubbornness, because your stubbornness can absolutely be a strength. It can be an absolute strength. It's not a handicap. It's not, unless you allow it to be. My stubbornness is what keeps me working. What I mean by that is I get regularly attacked by parasitic beings. And if I wasn't so stubborn, I would cave. I would fall. And I would be like, I'm never doing that again. Now, bitches, I'm here to stay. Keep at it. So that's my stubbornness. It works for me. And if you allow your stubbornness to work for you, where you can balance it, recognize when it's a little out of control and you need to rein it back in. Like, do I really need to be stubborn about this? Can I select something else that's not as difficult? Having these conversations within yourself will greatly empower you. Queen of Wands, positive, fiery, outspoken. Queen of Wands in reverse. And there it is. We are shutting down. Most of us are shutting down. You're not sharing or even verbalizing what you're experiencing, the thoughts, the feelings, the downloads, the dreams, all of these things. Everyone is so sensitive right now. And it's like you can post something that's hilarious and it's going to offend someone else. No matter how benign the humor is, it's offensive to someone else. Maybe they need to be offended. If it's not your intention to offend people, why do you need to feel bad? Why do you have to walk on eggshells? Maybe you sharing of your truth is what needs to happen, and these people need to be offended so that they can become aware of their limited existence, the limitations that they've prescribed to themselves. And maybe, just maybe, in their attempt to disprove you, discredit you, they're going to go online and look for all this information, and they're going to come across things that's, oh shit. Oh shit. Maybe, and all that just because they got offended by you. That type of growth is beautiful. It's a gift. It's a gift. A lot of people are offended by me. Watch someone else if you are. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to offend you. The Star card in reverse, brightness, hope, could bring excesses, so be careful not to become too greedy. And that's the thing. This is part of the message, this message of stop being afraid that you're being greedy just by stating that you have needs. For example, many people are out of work. They don't have money to buy groceries. They can't exactly go into the, well, can they? Can people go in and apply for food stamps? Food aid, cash aid from the state, are they doing that? I don't know, but if you haven't been able to work and you have no money for groceries, reach out, tell the people that you trust, hey, I need some help. Don't be so ashamed. Don't shut yourself down. There are still a lot of really good people in this world. A lot. There are people who care. There are those who care so deeply, but they don't want to step on your toes. They don't want to ask you and embarrass you. So it's time for maybe both types of people to come together, come out of their shell, and not be afraid they're going to offend someone else, not be afraid that they're going to be seen as, a failure or a loser or any of those things. If you know someone is struggling, help. Just, instead of offering, just whatever you can do. If you have extra food, if maybe you can purchase a gift card for the grocery store, and just leave it on their doorstep, sanitize the shit out of it first. Leave it on their doorstep. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So they don't have to ask, because sometimes people are too ashamed to ask. 10 of Pentacles in reverse, money contentment, signing of money agreement. Ooh, if you've never watched any of my readings before, Pentacles and money to me is energy. Okay, got nothing to do with money. It's all about energy, because energy is a form of currency. So this tells me all of this is happening right now. Because remember, our cups are being drained. So our cups are being drained because the energetic contracts that many of us had agreed to on this earth plane with other people in this life are being dissolved and drained out. Being drained. Ace of Swords in reverse, frustrations, double-edged sword, hollow victory. This is not going to be a hollow victory. Once we're done with this process, we're done with this system. Frustrations. Yes, you're getting frustrated, but you're also getting the truths that you need in order to continue on your journey and have the information to make informed consent. There's gonna be one big ass tower moment. Okay, guys, we're in the process of a huge tower moment. Catastrophe, accident, things happening very quickly at lightning pace. Look at that. Lots of major tower moment going on. Ooh wee! Oh shit! This is a tower. we jumped out of the tower. Okay, so that's what it is. That's really what it is. And we don't need to be afraid. We don't need to be afraid. We don't need to allow anyone to distract us from the message we're delivering, from the message we're receiving, from the thoughts that are beginning to percolate and really helping us to ripen even more. Okay? Just allow the process. Allow it. 3 of Pentacles, improvements underway, but delays around it. Renown, glory, place of worship. There you go. Improvements underway. Oh. The final leg. You think he's fixing the final leg, but he's not. He's here to demolish it. Controlled demolition. We are in a controlled demolition. That's deep. That's deep. Hold on, guys. This deck. All right. So, un momento, por favor. Just put this back. So I have the space. All right. There it goes. Let's go ahead and shuffle. So this deck always gives quite a bit of information. Let's see. Controlled demolition. Ooh, I'm being told to tell you guys this. The safest, most efficient way to take down an uninhabitable structure is by dropping it into its own footprint. In order to do that, there needs to be strategically placed explosives to take out the infrastructure. Take that however you want. Infrastructure first must be destroyed. It must be compromised in such a way that the weight of what was created and held up by that infrastructure will boom, 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 boom. Yes, Giovanni. Yes. Controlled. Very controlled, very technical, very precise. All right. I have some major ringing in my ear. So much ringing. Like, I feel it in my eyeball. I'm really getting sick and tired of these energies, guys. I really would. I would like my eyeballs to stop swinging, rocking in their sockets, loud ass squeals, and like high pitches. Like, just kind of tired of the damn energy. Is this 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, 9. Oh. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Okay. All right. So there's been a lot of things that have happened within history of humanity as we've created the infrastructure um, to establish the governing bodies. A lot of stuff going on. We're returning the favor. Card number 82. We're returning the favor. We're calling our energy back to us. In order for you to call your energy back to you, you have to first dissolve the contracts that have been allowed to pull energy from you. This is part of the reason why so many people have lost their jobs. And I'm not going to diminish your struggle by saying, oh, it's just energy. Don't worry about it. No, you have to worry about it. You have to. This is about your livelihood. This is about you being able to have a sense of stability. So if you're worried about it, there's nothing wrong with being worried about it. Don't listen to the people who tell you you're an asshole for worrying about it. You're not spiritual. Fuck those people because they're not struggling there with you. Okay? It's total bullshit. I'm getting all triggered. I feel like it's just total bullshit when people try and diminish other people's suffering and struggle by way of spiritual reasoning. Oh, you're worrying for nothing because, this is the great reset. Everything's going to be beautiful. No, people are struggling. People are worried about how they're going to feed their children, how they're going to pay their mortgage, their rent, utilities, all of that. Okay? All of that. If people are worried, don't tell them they have no reason to worry. If you can't support them, shut the fuck up. For real. If you cannot be supportive, if you're going to be another pebble on that big ass pile of reasons why they're already having an internal battle, keep your pebble to yourself. Seriously, keep it to yourself. You're not being asked to be fake. You're just asked to be silent. Sometimes what people need is to be able to just have someone else stand there with them in silence and look at the mess that's happened in front of them. Sometimes that's all that's needed. Okay? Okay? So we have to embrace our family. We have to embrace our family. That means the entirety of the human race. That means we all have to embrace each other. And sometimes that embrace is more than what it seems. Sometimes the embrace is what holds them up. When they have no legs to stand, your embrace is what keeps them standing. Recognize that. Now's not the time to tear other people down. It really isn't. Everyone's suffering in one way, shape, or form. And just because you have a savings? Oh, because you were responsible and they weren't responsible? So that gives you a leg up. And so, that was a perfect time. I told you should have saved. Well, what if I tell you that, there's a possibility that with all of this, the whole economy is going to collapse and your thousands and millions of dollars in your savings is going to be worth shit. We're all in the same hole. How about that? I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen. But how's that feel? To have someone point that out. It don't feel good. It don't feel good. So why don't we just hug each other at this point? Like, hey, how are you doing today? I'm doing real bad. I know. You want to talk about it? Pretty sure I'm struggling the same way as you. Let's talk about it. Now's a good time to stand shoulder to shoulder. It really is a good time for that. Instead of getting petty and like pointing out how someone else is messing up and this and that, now's a really good time to just get real quiet if you don't have anything constructive or supportive to say. to contribute to their attempt to cope with the devastation. It's a really good time to experience some silence, some stillness within yourself. Card number 40, stubbornness. Didn't we just talk about this? Stubbornness. Use that stubbornness to help shoulder you. Okay? Stubbornness is not necessarily a bad trait. When it's unbalanced, yes, it can become detrimental. When it's balanced, wow, what a powerhouse. What a powerhouse. You just have to recalibrate yourself. Make sure you are viewing your life with the most appropriate filters. Okay? Card number 89, open contact. This is an invitation for you to begin sharing of yourself with other people. Talking is good. Text messaging. If you're not someone who can talk comfortably, if it makes you feel weird and, it's just, I don't know what to say, text is good. You can read out what you're saying several times and edit it several times before it's sent. And if that still makes you feel uncomfortable, you can begin the text with, I hope this doesn't come out weird because sometimes, I don't know, I'm weird. And then go ahead and say whatever you were going to say. And if it comes out weird, I'm pretty sure they'll tell you. It's about spiritual sovereignty. Recognizing each of us are equals in our sovereignty. We're all the kings and queens of our own auric kingdoms. None is more elevated than the other. That's like saying one string is more important than the other in a grand tapestry of life. You pull one string out, I don't care how important the other string is, that whole tapestry's fucked. It's ugly. It's fucked. So let that sink in too. Card number 85, living in the now. You have to live in the now. There's really no other time. Okay? You have to live in the now. If you allow yourself to continue to live in the past, you chain yourself to that event that you refuse to let go of. That's what depression is. You have anxiety? That's because you're living too far in the future. Those events are not set. You can't guarantee the outcome. That's anxiety. So live in the now. Balance yourself now. Process the past and leave yourself open to the future. Very simple, but so difficult for most of us to do, and it's okay if it's difficult. We're not here to master life. Regardless of what the gurus are saying, we're not here to master life, to master anything. We're here to keep learning until we've learned everything that we can, and the moment you master it, you're out of here. Life is efficient. Creation is efficient. Once you've mastered this class, you go on to the next class. This body dies and you go on to the next class. So you're not here to master it. You're not here to rush through. You're not here to memorize facts and regurgitate them. You're here to fully explore every vowel, every letter of every word in this dissertation of life that you are living. You are a living book. And it's time you begin realizing that. The author, when they write their book, they just flow through that book until that whole whatever needed to come out is done. And then they go back and read. You can't write your story while you keep reading chapters from the past and worrying about chapters in the future. That's going to be a real crappy book. And it's going to take you forever to write it. You know what's really funny? Before I started this live stream, a commercial, an ad popped on, and it was for some sort of writing app. I love how Michael gives me messages this way. So I wasn't paying attention. I'm like, what the hell? Why is this playing? And the lady was saying the biggest obstacle to being a great writer is not being a horrible writer, but it's in the interruptions. When you try and write something, if you get interrupted, it just completely severs the flow of that creative energy. Creative energy comes from creator. This is you creating. So stop chopping up your flow. That's what happens when that 9 to 5 kicks in, and we all have to work because we all have to pay to exist, right? So when that 9 to 5 kicks in, those are interruptions with the story that you're writing for yourself. Right now, many of us don't have that 9 to 5. We don't have those interruptions. So write your story. Write your story right now. Allow yourself to get quiet enough to hear the words of your story flowing through your heart and allow it to overflow, saturate your life, and come to fruition. That's how you manifest. Standing out of your own way. Okay? So this is about renewed hope. Renewed hope. I have ADHD. ADHD is not a handicap. Not sure what you meant by the ADHD, but I have ADHD and I recognize that most people who have ADHD are classified as ADHD because they have the ability to function multidimensionally. That's why. That's why it's like squirrel brain. That's what it is. Card number 8, Cosmic Midwifery, and card number 83, Common Ground. We're all on common ground as we rebirth ourselves. We're rebirthing ourselves. Yes, we are. We are rebirthing ourselves. And there's no one mother in that labor and delivery unit that is superior or inferior to another mother. They're all experiencing a laboring experience that is so different and so unique from everyone else. I mean, even myself, I've had how many children and given birth naturally for all of them, unmedicated, and every single delivery was different than the other. Every single pregnancy was different than the other. We're here for very unique experiences. You can't continue to expect yourself to recreate experiences for yourself, for other people. Once the moment is done, it's done. It's a new moment. And I hate to tell you this, but the present is nothing but a series of new moments. One after another, after another, after another. That's what the present is. So make it a good one. Just saying. Oh no, I don't feel disrespected. I don't feel, but that was a good, ooh, I was told to, cut the deck and look at the card. Ultimate evolution. There you go. There's all the squirrel brains, all the levels of squirrely. All the levels of squirrely. So, if you have struggles with your mind staying focused, you have to begin allowing that mind to wander a little bit, see where it takes you. And you might be amazed at how many of the answers to your questions you find in that squirrel moment. Okay. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being open to my interpretation of the messages the cards give me, and just for being awesome. Make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure, if your heart tells you, try and take care of others too. Doesn't necessarily mean money. It doesn't necessarily mean groceries. It sometimes just means letting them know you're not alone in this. I'm right here too. Right there with you. We're going through this together. And if you need to talk, if you need to vent, right here. Maybe I'll do a live stream sometime where we just talk shit. Where we just talk shit the whole time. I might have to call my cousin for that. I might have to call her. We'll just talk shit for a whole hour. I'll see if she can come on live. And she just look through the comments and just talk shit to whoever she sees. Woo, that'll be fun. I'm going to wear a diaper for that one. So please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on the notification bell. Join me every single time I'm live. I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye.